community charity based in, well, London. And it's, well, you know, I will leave him to do most of the talking, but it's an example of, again, practical solutions from a community, and this time from the diaspora.
Namaste, Joseph, and good afternoon. My name is Ojas Singh, and I'm the Vice President of Pasa Puchah Guthi, UK. Today I will be talking about Pasa Puchah Guthi's effort after the earthquake and its helpings in the relief activities. Today I'll be talking about the beginning of the disaster, the realization of the magnitude of the disaster, the work that we put in, the media coverage, ins and outs of the finances, and the future work that we intend to do. 25th April 2015, Saturday morning. I woke up lazily, and as you do, I took my phone and checked my Facebook. And there was a message, a Facebook status of Angela Srestha, one of our esteemed friend of the Guthi, our community, saying we're all safe here. Please reply, all relatives, we're worried. And I thought immediately, okay, there is another earthquake. As you might know or might not know, that earthquake is quite regular occurring in Nepal. So I just thought one of those things. But as I was scrolling through my wall, I saw pictures and videos being shared on it. Pictures of the temples and the squares and the gullies and the places that I used to play and I grew up playing collapsed and damaged. That is when I realized that this is not just a normal earthquake that happens in Nepal. This is totally different and of a lot bigger magnitude than what we are used to. I started talking to people of Nepali diaspora in the UK, sharing information, calling people in Nepal as much as we could. My parents-in-law were still in Nepal, so we had this telephone conversation, and they were on the phone while we were talking. And when one of the earthquake occurred, they had to leave the phone running, leave the phone and run out. And we were there waiting, not knowing whether they would come back or not. So that was a very traumatic experience for all of us, for all our family. That is when we realized we had to do something. We had to do something from here, but we didn't know what. One thing we knew was that money would be helped. So we first thing we did was on 26th April 2015, we called out an appeal. We had this status asking for money and also asking people to bring whatever they thought was important to earthquake victims in this situation. Food, clothes, tents, biscuits, whatever they could. And we also coordinated with all the restaurants, or most of the restaurants across London, to act as a collection point, which they obliged. And before long, we started getting lots of contributions to all these collection points. We were able to collect over 20,000 kilos of essential goods, tents, foods, clothes, everything delivered to these collection points across London. We were able to collect over 200 kilos of medical supplies. Students from Sheffield University and Nepali Society in Sheffield University delivered 500 kilos of relief materials to London, and over 100 blankets were delivered to only one restaurant, Monty's restaurant in Kingston. But there were still problems because we had all these goods collected in London, but within a couple of days. But the problem was Nepal's international airport was closed for a couple of days, so we could not ship them from here to Nepal. But people were asking for things. They were asking for tents to start with, because they were all living out of the house. And then people wanted to buy tent, and there were shortages in the market. But we liaised with the team called Dreams Magazine team in Nepal to buy whatever they could. another issue there was, again, not having money. So we transferred money via PayPal to those people who could go and get money. And they bought 600 tents, and we distributed 600 tents to all the majorly affected areas like Bungamati, Harisiddhi, Bhaktapur, Kirtipur, and so on. And then the demands of the necessary things started coming in waves. First was tents, and then food. They wanted food, and we did not know what to do. So we contacted another group of our friends in Nepal and asked them to buy rice, dal, biscuits, noodles, and everything. So they were distributed again in those areas of Bungamati, Harisiddhi, and Bhaktapur. But we delivered food, and then they suddenly realized that they didn't have utensils, because all the utensils were under the collapsed houses. So we all again had to contact those people to buy utensils and distribute them to those affected families, so they could cook rice and dal at least. And then there was the need of medicine. By the time they asked for medicine, planes were flying to Nepal, and the cargoes were very helpful to take lots of the cargoes for free, especially medicines. So we were able to send 200 kilos of medicine via the aeroplanes. And I myself went to Nepal immediately after the second earthquake, and I took about 70 kilos of medicine to distribute to the affected families. It was very satisfying to do so, but at the same time it was very hard work to collect all these items and cash. We had to do lots of activities to do that. First of all, we had to raise money, and secondly, we had to raise awareness to raise money. To raise money, we had to coordinate across our Pasa Puchah Guthi's branches, which is all across UK. We had to appeal for cash. GoFundMe donation page has been raised. We liaised with schools and fairs to raise money. And also we organized a photo exhibition, Photos for Nepal. And then we liaised with little organizations, big and small, in UK, to create awareness of what was happening. Newa Ve workshop was organized with Yak Bites. Artquake was organized with Nepalese artists in the UK. Cricket for Nepal was supported which was organized with Q Cricket Club at Q. And Nepal to London was another event that was organized by London Metropolitan University. That was also helped with liaising with Pasa Puchah Guthi UK. In total, we were able to raise just shy of £24,000, and out of that we have already spent £23,000, and we have got 700 remaining, which will again be spent on rebuilding whatever we can in Nepal. After the rescue and relief material distribution, rebuilding was next our project. Education being the paramount importance to our organization, we thought of rebuilding orphanages or classrooms for orphanages and schools. We have been able to do able to contribute into 4 different places. One was this residential orphanage where we built a study room in Sinamango. Sri Saraswati School, which was collapsed in Sindhupalchok, we helped them to rebuild their classes. Similarly, Sri Ugratara, Kumari Chowar, and Jaleshwar School. I have been to Sri Ugratara Kumari Chowar School, where young architects, just like the one shown in the video before, were trying to build it. But these young architects who didn't have any field experience wanted to go and build all by themselves, but not knowing their own limitation in their skills. They faced lots of challenges. Challenges firstly in skills of carpentry and other bits, and then lack of skills in talking and interacting with local villagers. There's a very interesting story on that. They decided to build a house. To start with, they had to start to build a house of somebody. So they thought they would build a house of the most elderly people in the village. So they started that, but nobody in the village came to help them. They didn't understand why. because they expected villagers to come and help, but nobody came to help. And then later they found out these elderly people had a son who was a nuisance to the community. He used to get drunk and fight with everybody in the village. So the whole villagers did not want these elderly people to have the house just because of their son. So these are the kind of diplomatic relationship skills they didn't have. And they also faced the labor shortage in building the houses. But now they have finally built a house and a school now, which is a good news. And in doing this, media has helped us a lot to raise awareness. BBC were the first to interview us to raise awareness, and lots of people donated to our bank account after this interview. And then Guardian also ran a full-page article on us for this, which also helped us reach to people which we couldn't have reached all by ourselves. And needless to say, Nepali and other medias also helped us a lot. So we know that this is not just a one-off activity that we can do. This will have to keep on going on, at least for 5 years or 10 years probably, if considering this kind of devastating earthquake doesn't happen during that time. So we would plan to support the heritage rebuilding and restoration programs, run workshops, investigate and identify the sustainable model to keep on doing these kind of activities in Nepal. And we will also create teams to keep moving forward. We will also try and get MOUs signed with governments for the rebuilding of Nyewa heritage gullies and sites. Preserving Nyewa heritage is one of our core objectives of our Guthi. But as you might know or might not know, that we have quite a few World Heritage sites in Nepal. A few of them have been badly affected by the earthquake. But we won't be able to help build them or rebuild them. However, we are one of the main stakeholders of these buildings. So we will try and push government and UNESCO to speed up their work in rebuilding these heritages. However, what we will do is we will concentrate on rebuilding these little heritage temples, Newari temples in Kathmandu, Nakabahi being one, which is about 12th, 13th century temple, which has got cracked walls and damaged roof, which we are refurbishing. We're also in talks with a responsible personnel on rebuilding Bungamati temple. Hopefully, when I go to Nepal in June, I will be able to get some solid work done during that time. And we keep working hard. That's the plan. Thank you very much for all the supporters, and thank you, BNAC, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ojas, as an example of how communities here get together to liaise with friends and family in rebuilding the country. So as a tribute to that, as well as the works of so many people, we have here